Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm reviewing for you the new NARS limited edition Climax eyeshadow palette. So I talked about this in my haul and swatch video and I wanted to get this review out quickly because it is limited edition and I was receiving some requests on Instagram. I've had a few people asking me, when are you going to review it? When are you going to review it? So here it is. I think this palette is beautiful. Seriously, this color story is just stunning. I'm going to show you 4 looks with this palette, mostly because I want you to see how these cool tones look on my skin tone, because I think that's going to be a concern with some of you. If you have warm brown skin, how are these cool tone shades going to look on you? Now, I think this palette looks amazing on my skin tone. Yes, they're a little bit cool tone. There really aren't warm tones in here, but as you can see with this eye look, it just looks stunning. So let's get into the details. First up, let's talk about the matte shade. So this palette has 4 matte shades out of 9 shades. This one right here is a pretty good transition shade. It's a little bit dry, but it still works. Now, it is a cool tone shade. However, on my skin tone, it still actually works and looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with it. This shade I mostly use just to buff out the outer edges, and it works well for that. The green shade is a very interesting tone. It's a pretty cool tone green, almost like that military green. It applies and builds quite well on the eye. In terms of blending, it's not too bad either. I was expecting some trouble in terms of blending, but you know, if you just go in a little bit slow, you'd be fine. Then this beautiful color right here. I was initially concerned about this color because it looks quite maroon in the pan. And while I was waiting for this palette to arrive, I did watch a couple of reviews for this palette, and I did watch it on lighter skin tones. And on lighter skin tones, quite interesting, this shade looked very red, at least in the videos that I saw. It looked quite cranberry, and I was a little bit concerned about that. I really didn't want a cranberry red with some of these tones, and I'm really happy to say it's not really a cranberry red. This is like a very deepened wine tone. I mean, you can see I'm wearing it right here. I'm not wearing any black eyeshadow, by the way. I'm just wearing this tone here, and I love that you can kind of get that reddish brown effect from this eyeshadow, but if you build it up, it's going to get deeper and deeper and turn it into this beautiful smoke out shade that can look almost black. I love that. So I loved building this shade. You guys saw my Natasha Denona retro review, and one of the critiques from that palette was that it was really hard to build the deeper shades. I couldn't go in with multiple layers and build them. They would go patchy, hard to blend. I didn't have that problem with this. First, able to big pigmentation quite quickly. If I wanted to, I could build it in several layers. So I went in with the shade like 5 times. Each time I was able to blend it out. Yes, I needed to work perhaps a little bit more than some really softer mattes, because all of the mattes in this palette have a slightly drier texture. There's a little bit of resistance to them, but they still blend out beautifully. And I was able to build and build and build and smoke it out and get really deep and dark. So I'm very happy with this shade. After all, you only get one smoke out shade in this palette, which is this one. But to be honest, that's all you need, because you can either keep it a little bit light or you can go really dark, as this look just in the outer corner here. You can see I've gone quite dark. Now let's quickly talk about the shimmers. Now, my favorite shimmers from this palette is the green, the taupe, and this blue. I think the quality of these 3 is phenomenal. First up, this taupe shade, that's what I've currently got on here. Stunning. It gives this beautiful, almost this wet looking shine, but it's just a metallic shade. There's no wetness in here or anything like that, but the shine it gives, yeah. And the color is perfection. Oh my god. The green, wow. I will show you a tutorial for this. The green is perfection. It has a little bit of golden flecks in it, which I feel like makes this green come to life a little bit. So it doesn't quite look as dark as it looks in the pan. still very beautiful. And then we have the blue shade, which actually looks a little bit lighter as well on the eye than it looks in the pan. Now for these two shades, they're still very good shades, but I didn't find these two to perform quite as well as some of these shades right here, but you could work with them. So I have done looks with both these shades and I was able to build up some pigmentation quite well. They both are quite sparkly, but I still think that they don't quite match the quality of the green and the blue here. Overall, guys, I think this palette is a hit. I really love the looks I've gotten out of it. I love the color story, and I think it is brown skin friendly. Now, if you're someone who's thinking about this palette, the main thing really is whether you're going to like this color story or not. So I think if these colors speak to you, then just know that they are actually really good quality. I'm quite happy with the shimmers and the mattes. In general, overall, the shimmers are quite interesting. They're a very thick formula. They almost feel a little bit gritty, but when you swipe them on the eye, they apply really well. It's not a formula that I'm used to. It's even thicker than the Natasha Denona shimmers, and they're not as smooth as the Natasha Denona shimmers, and yet they perform beautifully. So a very different shimmer formula than what I've come across. So if you are looking for a cool tone palette for the holiday, I think this is amazing because you've got some solid shimmers in here and you can definitely do some glam looks as well as do some wearable looks. Love it. This palette is a hit. Now, let's just get into the 4 looks that I created using this palette. I've got concealer on my eyelids and I'm going to start off with this shade right here, and I'm just taking this big fluffy brush from Wayne Goss number 03. By the way, you guys have been asking for my favorite brush video. I feel rather frustrated because a lot of my favorite brushes are actually from Wayne Goss, and this, especially this squirrel hair. Now I believe this brush and brush number 04, so these 2 blending brushes, I believe they are back in stock at Beautylish. So if you want to grab them now, because the other brushes that I have, I just don't see on Beautylish. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know if Wayne Goss is planning on bringing back this style of brushes, because they have been my favorite for many years. It's really hard for me to do a favorite brush video when, if I recommend these to you, you can't get them. So I will be trying other brands in terms of brushes because I know these are very hard to get. But I did want to mention that these 2 are available. Fantastic brushes for the eyes. I love using these, and I pretty much use them in most of my makeup tutorials. So this is that shade. It blended really nicely, no issues. Next up, I'm gonna go into this beautiful green eyeshadow right here, all over the eye. Make sure you go in the crease. So that applied pretty well. I wouldn't say this is the smoothest matte eyeshadow formula, but it is definitely workable, and I don't have to struggle with this formula. I know that green matte eyeshadows can be tricky to work with, so I'm quite happy with this. The Wayne Goss brush number 4, and I'm just going to give it a soft blend just in the crease area. Gonna go into this light shade and just going to apply that in that brow bone area, just to kind of diffuse the eye look a little bit just around these edges. Now I can build up the intensity of this shade, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to apply more eyeshadow. Oh my god, that's beautiful, beautiful color. This will also look really great just as overall matte eye look. I'm picking up the same green eyeshadow and I'm going to run that just at the lower lash line. So I'm going to go in with this beautiful shimmer right here, and I'm just going to apply this all over the eye. Whoo! Like, the shimmer really makes this look. Seriously, you could wear it matte, for sure, but I think the shimmer is just too beautiful to not to use. And I'm just going to apply this pretty much all over the eye because I want to see the shimmer everywhere. And just having that green base at the bottom really, oh my God, I'm getting distracted. It's so pretty. Just going to give it a rough blend just here. I'm also going to pick up the same shimmer just on the brush, and I'm going to apply it at the lower lash line as well. Hey guys, so this is the final look, and I absolutely love this look. Oh my God, seriously. Whew. This is such a stunning green eyeshadow, and it's still really wearable. Like, it's not super bright or intense, and it's so pretty. So I will say that I did have some trouble just applying my normal eye pencil on top of the shimmer, and I think it's just because these shimmers are quite thick. It took me a little bit longer than normal to apply an eye pencil and then top that off with some black eyeshadow. So it did take a little bit of effort, but honestly, this look is so beautiful. I don't mind that. Here's a look. So I've got my concealer on, and I'm just going to go in with this shade right here, just in the crease for both eyes. Now I'm going to go into this shade right here, just with the Natasha Denona brush number 12. And I'm going to do a halo eye for this eye. So I'll first apply it just on the outer edges here. As you can see, the shade applies really well. I'm also going to apply it just in the inner corner. Then I'm going to take a blending brush, and I'm just going to blend that out. What I love about this shade is that it has a lot of depth, and you can kind of see that. It even doesn't look that dark in the pan, but it applies beautifully. You can easily build it up and smoke it out. And I'm going to apply that right here. Now I'll finish this eye off later. Let's move on to this look here. I'm going to do the exact same thing, except instead of a halo eye, I'm just going to use this shade in the outer V just to smoke that out. Now that I've got this shade smoked out, I'm just going to go into this blue and apply that all over the lid. So beautifully pigmented. Look at that. Gorgeous. And then I'm just going to go in with a blending brush and just going to smooth out that shimmer area. I've just added some concealer under my eyes, and I'm now going to go back into this shade right here and just going to run that through the lower lash line. This is the final look. All I've done is added some mascara and an eye pencil. For this look, I don't have any concealer on. I do have my NARS eye primer. I'm going to go back into this shade right here and add that into the crease. Next, I'm going to go into this shade right here, and I'm going to smoke out that outer V. And right now, I'm just blending out those edges. Next, I'm going to go with this beautiful taupe shade, and I'm going to apply that all over the lid. This is such a gorgeous color. And that diffuses out quite nicely as well. I'm just gonna deepen that outer V with that smoke out shade. Look at that, it builds so well. Now just taking a clean brush, I'm gonna go into this shade right here and just going to work that in the edges just to kind of diffuse out that outer blending. Hey guys, so my camera cut out, but just tell you what I did. So of course I've got the rest of my makeup on. As for the eyes, I did go back into this shade right here, and I just kind of built up this shade a little bit more. I just really love that I can build and build with this shade. So even though my intention when I started this look was going to be a bit of a softer look, it did turn out to be a little bit more glam. And now I've also got the same shade in my lower lash line, added an eye pencil, mascara, and of course the rest of my makeup. And I just think this look is beautiful. I love it. Oh my god. This is probably going to be one of my favorite looks that I've done in the last month at least, because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed how this taupe shade looks against this really blackened wine shade. Together, they just look stunning. What do you guys think? Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed those looks. Now let me know in the comment section below which look was your favorite. I am kind of battling between this look and the first look that I did, which was that beautiful green. So overall, very happy with this purchase. Yes, it's an expensive little palette, but you know what? I am far more happy with this palette than I was with the Natasha Denona Retro palette. The Retro palette, if you haven't seen my review for the Retro palette, check that out. So I think this is amazing. It's brown skin friendly, it's easy to use, even with the slightly drier matte formula and the slightly thicker shimmer formula. I still think this palette is amazing. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and I will see you guys in my next one. See ya!